I want to move ahead now with the consist for the Cape Cod Flyer. And up first in the consist, I wanted to have another head-end freight. Now, just a side note, the article that I referenced before with that image is the summer 2020 issue, summer 2020 of Classic Trains. I'm going to move it because it reflects light on the camera. And also I had up earlier, in an earlier video, these two cars and asked the viewers, well, which one's vintage? Is it the one on the left, the orange one, or one on the right, the black one? And of course, we all knew the answer to that, without any further prompting, and that is it's the orange one because you can see the part number 984. Not only do we recognize it, of course, but the 984, which is the part number. Now, I had considered using it as the head-end freight. I mean, it would make sense, right? It's already there, it's already prepared, but I had a change of mind. And that change of mind is regarding the train set that is pulled by 499, the EP5, and of course, the orange striped coaches. Well, I used this one, the orange one on this consist, to be the head-end freight. And I didn't want to have to do double duty on it. I wanted to have a unique car for the Cape Cod Flyer. Plus, I wanted the Cape Cod Flyer to be all black. And you'll recognize the similarities between the cars, the large stacked NH. Thank goodness for micro scale decals that allowed me to do that. I couldn't emulate everything that's on the orange car, which is the vintage car from Gilbert, but I thought I came pretty close. So let's just move this one out of the way since we know about it already, and let's bring this black one into focus because I wanted it to meet the requirements that these cars be black. Now, how it started is that I asked my vendor partner to send me a 642 boxcar that I could turn into this head-end freight. I chose 642 for several reasons. One, I did not want operating doors on this. I didn't see any value in that. Number two, it has stamped on designations, and there's only two per side, American Flyer and 642 Herald on each side, only those two. And my experience has shown that painting over the stamps is usually more productive than painting over decals or dry rubs. And so I wanted this one. Now, he sent me this one. He sent quite a few of the cars that are in this train. He sent this one, which had my usual requirements of no chipping, no broken parts, no chunks out of it, no large scratches or anything. There was a tiny chip right up here on the walkway, but that's okay. But it was in such better condition than the 642 in my collection. I decided to use my collection's 642 and keep this one for mine. So we'll set that one aside, but thanks to our vendor partner, and I'll show you some of the other material he furnished me for furnishing that. So this is my own 642. Usual work was done on it. I converted it to knuckle couplers. And I also like the fact that mine had this either die cast, I think it's actually a plastic frame. Changed the couplers over to knuckle, front and back. Cleaned up the trucks, the wheels, and everything before it was painted. It was thoroughly washed before painting, and then it was painted with the same gray primer that I showed in the previous video, and then it was sprayed with coated with the 7777 black satin paint, and then of course eventually coated with the dull coat. Now, there's a couple things about the decals I failed to mention. I wanted to try to emulate the decal design on the 984, I believe. Yeah, on the 984. So this is about as close as I could come, but thank goodness the large stacked NH, which are actually O gauge, was perfect. It's hard to tell the difference between the large stacked NH on the orange car versus the stacked NH here. And then I kind of emulated that with the two separator lines, the small stacked NH, and then the word New Haven above that. It's not quite as large as the vintage car, but I found it to be perfectly acceptable. And then I came up with a number of 54, 55 for the car. I also, somebody brought this point up earlier, is a great point in the previous video, left a comment that was I using micro scales other products to apply the decals, and yes I do, and I totally forgot about that. One of the preparatory steps I take, in addition to all the cutting and everything I do, that I take is to, of course, thoroughly wash the car and then the paint, and then I also very, very lightly, carefully clean these areas with contact spray on a brush, just a little bit, not to disturb the paint. Now I wish I had the micro scale product that is the preparatory product. I don't have that, so I substituted the contact cleaner. But what I use after they're on here are a couple things. One is this small, I'd call it medium to hard nylon brush. It's nylon tips. It's got a little bit of rigidity to it, but that's good. That's what I want. I don't want it to be as soft as a camel hair because it wouldn't serve the purpose I need it to serve. I think this one is a 1/4 inch long and 3/16 wide. And I've had it for a long time. When I apply the decals, one of the first things I do is squeegee them off very gently, literally letting the weight of the brush squeegee them so it doesn't disturb the decal. That gets any excess water off. Then, after they have thoroughly dried, and I usually have a rule of thumb that if I want something thoroughly dried, I put it in a controlled environment and allow it to dry overnight. The next thing I did was go over the decals with this microsol, and that is to condition the decals. Has to be used carefully because literally it's melting the decals such that they bond to the relief of the car. And I'm going to bring it up close just to show one example. Hopefully you can see that the decal has accepted the relief of the car, including the rivet, and therefore set on the car. It's not creating, say, a bubble right here or a little hump in the decal. So the microsol allows that, and it does a really good job. It has to be used pretty carefully because it can take these decals off in a heartbeat. But I go over all of them with that. And so I have two squeegee processes. One is to squeegee off the water, and then squeegee off the microsol. And sometimes there'll be a little bubble in it like there is right there, that little black is showing through. Then the final step is I take a map pen, which is about a 2.5 inch pen that I actually sharpen using a knife sharpener, and I go around piercing any bubbles. So I pierce the bubble with that really sharp pen, and then I go over it one more time with this brush to make sure that any excess air is pushed out. So this car, my 642, had a brake wheel. I don't think the one that the vendor partner sent me had a brake wheel, but this one does. So I removed it during the painting process, and it certainly met my expectations to be on this railroad. So it's going to be the head-end freight, and I like the flat black. And hopefully you'll agree that I think it just blends in better and looks more natural than the bright orange, although I love that bright orange 984 when it's on the 499 EP5 train. Really like it, but this one was just fine. Its trucks, by the way, when it started out, were link couplers, and I converted it over. Sometimes I'll move these head-end freights in and out of the consist, just depending on how many passenger coaches. And I'll mention something later on when we look at the passenger coaches. I actually have two green passenger coaches. One came with train set 4603, which is I think the Atlantic steam passenger train, something like that, 4603. Those are those I painted green, and I also dull coated them, so they're not quite as brilliant. And then in the last estate sale or downsizing estate sale, I purchased two 650, actually probably more than just two, maybe three, that were just in absolute pristine condition. One is that red one. I think I may have shown it already, but if not, I'll show it again. And also a green one. So I asked at least one colleague to say, what do you think about the green being at the back end of this? Because I just like the green, plus the article had a couple of coaches in the back. It's hard to tell if they're black, or I think they're actually streamlined, the aluminum type color. As my usual practice, this video will be followed with a couple of still photographs of this particular car during its rebuild process. Thanks again for watching Dave's American Flyer Trains.